Hello, everyone. I'm Linda Nickell, and welcome to the Happiness Hour. My goal here is to help us all connect, inspire, and create. Every week, a guest speaker joins us to share a bit of inspiration, creativity, and tips on how you can improve your photography portfolio. Upcoming presentations can be found on my website at lindanickell.com. Under Happiness Hour, you'll find the links to my YouTube channel and our community blog. Elaine Pruden is working the buttons and dials for me tonight, so say hello, Elaine.
Hello, everybody.
My guest tonight is Lawrence Leyderman. Lawrence is an outdoor travel and adventure photographer who is a full-time overlander. He lives off-grid in his Jeep that has been converted into a photographer's mobile office. In tonight's presentation, Overlanding Photography, Lawrence will share a lot of information with us from what led him to overlanding, what his survival plan is, how he plans and scouts. He'll even talk about gear, how he organizes himself, and much, much more. So welcome to the Happiness Hour, Lawrence.
Hi, guys. Linda, thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for being here. This is actually really exciting. I got this really big smile on my face because I'm just happy to share this lifestyle, this adventure, and what I do with you guys, because I'm always alone, and it's nice to be in front of people for once, you know?
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. I'm thrilled to have you.
Awesome.
And I think I told you when we chatted the other day, I never heard of the phrase overlanding, never. And I stumbled across your page and I thought, well, this is interesting. And then I looked at your images and they were beautiful. And then because I always go one step further, and I'm really interested in people's my stories, and your my stories were they were like little movies, and they were also one of the first ones I saw. You were standing on a rocky edge point, and I'm thinking, if that was my kid, I'd be going, get off of that. But it was really, really cool because I know that I'm never going to do those things. I'm never going to see those views unless they're in photos. And through your my story, you took me there. And after overlanding kind of popped up a couple of times, I'm thinking, all right, this is a new genre of living, of adventure. And because I was interested in photography, you were just the right person to ask to come and do this. And when I asked you and you said, oh yeah, I'd love to, I was like, oh my gosh. So it's been a little while since I talked to you about coming on, and today's the day. So welcome.
Sweet.
And please share whatever you are willing to with us.
Awesome. So should I share my screen now?
Yeah, or yeah, you can, or if you want to tell us a little bit how you got started, or is that part of your presentation?
I'll just share it and talk at the same time because I think it's a part of it as well.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, my name is Lawrence, and I am an overlanding photographer. I'm a photographer. First, overlanding is just something I do to help the photography, to get me to places that are very challenging and difficult to get to otherwise. It helps me have all my gear with me. It allows me to stay in these places that are hard to get to for a long time because like I said, I have my fridge and I have everything with me. And this is my opening slide. I chose this slide because it just has so many elements in it that I love. And it just gives you that feel of just being outdoors. I'll get to why I did this in a little bit, but this photo has a fireplace. It has the Jeep lit. There's a moon, there's stars, there's my table. And I just love the way that I feel from this. I love the warmth of the fire. I love the coolness from the sky. What you don't see here though, is that I hit a light in the tree. I hit a Pro Photo C1, and that's what's kind of giving it that light from the left. That's why the ladder looks like that. That's why it's lit up. But yeah, I just love the feeling this gets. But this is kind of the vibe. This is how it feels to be outdoors. And let me move on. So here's my contact information. There's my phone number, my email address, my websites, and my Instagram. You guys can contact me any way you want. Call me, text me, message me on Instagram, email me. I love to hear from people. Any questions you guys have about overlanding or photography or, I don't know, McDonald's, parking lots, Wi-Fi, hit me up. Okay, so let me begin. My passports to freedom and creation. First are my cameras and my lenses, and that's what gives me the ability to share my experiences with people and share the lifestyle, and that has me out here creating. Without cameras, I don't know, I wouldn't really be overlanding. I mean, I wouldn't be so passionate about what I do, but I love photography, and photography makes me forget about everything and anything. And I mean, if I'm in a bad mood and all of a sudden there's a beautiful sunset, I just forget about that, the mood or whatever it is. I just love photography so much, and it just feels like it's running through my blood and veins and everything. It's kind of like who I've become. It really almost defines me. I really am. I feel like a photographer. That's who I am. And then the other passport to freedom and creation is this Jeep. And I've always wanted to live outdoors and be outdoors a lot. And growing up in New York, you know, being in the urban jungle, I didn't really have that. I never really felt like I belonged in that kind of environment. I was never honestly inspired by it. And this is kind of like some of the seeds that were planted early that kind of blossom now. That seed is like me loving nature and just me wanting to be in the outdoors, but kind of being stuck in the city. So I started slowly. I started slowly to get to where I am now. I didn't just jump in this Jeep and all of a sudden be able to be on 4,000-foot peaks by myself for a week at a time. I would go on first, maybe like 5-6 years ago, I came out to Vegas actually and rented a vehicle, and I drove out into the middle of nowhere. And I still remember the first night when it was just pitch black. It was silent. I see the sky full of stars, and I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. I just remember, like, I was actually in Lake Mead area, not too far from Vegas. And I stepped out of my car and I look up and I'm just like, my eyes are wide open. I was like, okay, what now? You know? And I got a little emotional at that moment. I'm like, wow, this is what it feels like to just be outdoors. And that was like the first time I kind of went out, and that was 1 week. And then I did that for 3 weeks, and then I did it for a month, and then 3 months. And it slowly progressed into living outdoors full time in this Jeep. 3 years ago, I went out for 3 months with my dog, which was awesome. I actually got my Jeep 3 years ago, and we were together, me and my dog, traveling across the Southwest. But having my miniature Aussie was a little challenging because she doesn't like the sun and she can't go to a lot of places, and she attracts animals. And I still wasn't really where I am today. So I was a little worried about being attacked by wild animals because of her. So I stopped traveling with her, and that's when things got much more extreme. I really miss traveling with my dog. So what is overlanding? This is my definition of it. There's many definitions of it, but this is how I see overlanding. I see it as a self-reliant adventure travel to remote destinations by off-highway capable vehicles where the principal form of lodging is camping. And you don't have to have a setup like mine. It doesn't have to be a rooftop tent. It doesn't have to be so done up. But if you're out there and you have some recovery gear, you have safety gear, you have food, you have a bed in the back of your car, whatever it is, you're overlanding. You're out there. You're self-sufficient. So you could be in a van, you could be in a Jeep, you could be in even a Honda Civic in theory could be like overlanding. It's just you have to get it to a place where you could be self-reliant. You probably will get stuck in a lot of places in a Honda Civic. I don't recommend it. You will be getting stuck in sand, mud. It's not a good idea, but overlanding is basically just being out there, adventuring, being self-reliant, being able to cook your own food, having a place to sleep, having safety gear. You want to have GPS systems, you want to have satellite radios in case anything happens. But that's what it is. And it actually originated in Australia, in the outback. And that's where they kind of first started. It's really taking off now, especially with the pandemic. But here you can see I'm on top of a mountain on the right with a ice wall that's tall in my Jeep, like 8 feet tall, probably. They just cleaned that road. And I'm able to do that. I'm able to get there. And because I've made my Jeep be able to do that, in the bottom left, you see the sand dunes. And, you know, even with this Jeep, I got stuck in sand 3 times in one day. That's because I didn't know how to drive in sand. So there's a learning curve to everything. There's hard sand and there's soft sand. So when you're driving and you hit the soft sand, you feel like you're floating, you have to floor it. You know, if you slow down or stop in soft sand, you're in trouble if you don't have any recovery gear. I had to wait for somebody to help me. That was last year, but not anymore. I have everything I need now in case anything happens. So that's overlanding in a nutshell. So why does overlanding and photography go so well together? And why have I chosen this to be the way I like to photograph things and the way I like to live? Well, it's because you have the ultimate freedom to explore and create, and you're on your own schedule. You don't have hotel rooms that you're booking, so you can do whatever you want. You can follow bad weather. You can follow good weather if you want. But whatever happens, you can go west, you can go east. At the blink of an eye, you can change course. Somebody contacts you like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, I'm an hour away, come. You go there, you do what you want. Another reason is that you really get to see light change over time in a certain place. Like you can get to a camping location, and hopefully it's a nice location where you can actually shoot a beautiful landscape. And when you're there, if you get there before sunset, you get to see the sunset, the blue hour, the stars come out. You can shoot star trails. You can shoot the Milky Way. You can go to sleep while your camera is shooting time lapses of the Milky Way. Wake up in your Jeep or whatever vehicle for the blue hour, sunrise. You can stay there another night. You really get to know a location. You get to be very familiar with the location, and in a comfortable way. You know, I like to have all my gear. I get you could do this backpacking, but that's not the way I want to do it. I want to have everything I own with me. I want to have my 75-liter fridge full of food. I want to have all my lenses, my drones, my gear, just everything, you know? So like I said, you can sleep while you're shooting, and I love astrophotography. It's one of my favorite things. So this really helps with that. This is what my Jeep looked like on the left before, when I mentioned I went out with my dog 3 years ago. That picture on the left is taken by Pismo Beach in California. And as you can see, the Jeep is not lifted yet. It doesn't have bigger tires. It doesn't have a winch. It doesn't have a tent. It doesn't have a rack. It doesn't have any of that stuff you see on the light, just on the right. It just has those 2 big lights. I don't recommend doing what I'm doing in that left photo, really, because salt water is bad for your Jeep. It can corrode the metal and everything. I didn't know as much as I know now. I probably wouldn't be doing that. But that's my cute dog in the window. That's Duchess. I miss her. She's in New York right now. On the right side in that photo, you see everything I've done to it. You see all the lighting. It's everywhere. And I'll get to what's on that Jeep in a moment, but you can see it's a little different. It's a little beefier, a little bit more made for survival and recovery and safety. Let me go to the next slide and tell you what's in that Jeep. So some of the modifications I did after my first year out with it, I added a roof rack, and that allowed me to put a roof tent on top of that. And behind the roof tent is a cargo area made by Pelican. I have a big cargo box, and behind that cargo box, the 7-gallon road shower. And then I have lighting everywhere. I have lighting 360 degrees. I have lighting on the left, right, and the back. It's really helpful, and it's mostly for safety, honestly. Those big spread lights that you see in the bottom and the front can see through trees almost. I can see animals everywhere. I'm always looking for little dotted eyes when I'm driving. The under lights below the car are really good for campsites. Amber does not attract bugs as much as white light. For all of you guys out there with your headlamps and your flashlights, and if you have bugs all over you, if you change it to amber or red, the bugs will go away. I just learned that this year. I'm always learning. Thought I knew everything, but no, I'm just kidding. So So yeah, the lights are extremely helpful. And again, amber also cuts through dust and particles in the air, while white light reflects off them and makes it even harder to drive. Okay, so yeah, so I added all that lighting. There's an air compressor under the hood, which allows me to air up my tires if I had to air them down. You air down your tires if you go off road or into sand. I generally go down to about 20 psi when I'm off roading, and all tires are different. But if I go into sand, for example, I'll go down to like 15 psi. And when you leave those trails or beaches or wherever you are, you want to air back up because it's really bad for your tires to be on the highway like at that pressure. But you don't need an air compressor if you can make it to a gas station, obviously. But I just like to have all these things in case. Sometimes I'm really in the middle of nowhere. I have a 75-liter fridge, which is a fridge and a freezer. I converted the freezer to a fridge, so it's basically just a fridge. There's a table in the back that flops down, and I use that as an office, and I make food on it. I have an awning that you're going to see later in some photos. It's a 270-degree awning, which wraps around the back, the side, and almost the front a little bit. I have a drawer system that I keep my camera and my camping gear in. It's in the back. When you open the back door, it opens up. I'm going to have a YouTube video soon coming up that's going to be showing all those modifications. If you follow my Instagram, I'll be sharing that YouTube page very soon. I removed the seats inside the Jeep, and I added wooden platforms for emergency shelter if I need it, if I can't use the tent. A big game changer this year was a dual battery system that I installed into the hood, which basically one battery charges the car and starts the car while the other battery powers all the stuff that's inside the vehicle, as well as keeps my fridge going 24/7. My fridge is always on. It's pretty amazing. I had a lot of problems last year because of that when I didn't have that battery system. That 1500-watt inverter allows me to charge all my batteries, for my drone, the camera. I have walkie-talkies always charging back there. Right now, my laptop is connected to the inverter. The car is off and I'm powered. It's amazing, honestly. That battery system was probably the biggest game changer. Next is my 10,000-pound winch, which is in the front, and that helps me if I get stuck. I helped somebody actually pretty recently in Hanksville, Utah, and my winch broke. The rope is not in there anymore, and that's what you get for helping people. Just kidding. So then I did some more modifications this year that helped me get to newer places. And that was my lift, my new tires, and my new wheels. So the car is now higher, has bigger wheels, which it just allows me to never hit the bottom of the car. So that's kind of pretty much what I did to the Jeep in the last couple of years. And like I said, you do not need to do this. I just go all out with everything I do. So that's pretty much what I did. And if you guys have any questions about that, hit me up anytime. I've made mistakes and I've learned from them, so I can help you from making the same mistakes. Camera gear and other photo gear that I have with me. I have 2 cameras with me. I love to have 2 cameras because you never know if something happens to the first one, you probably will need another one, you know. One time I was in Zion and somebody asked me to take a photo of them and they gave me their cell phone. And I forgot that I had my camera hanging on my neck. And I wanted to take a photo really close to the water to give them this really cool angle. And I just completely dipped my camera into the Narrows, like fully dipped my Sony A9 into the water. At the time, I only had 1 camera with me, and it was really upsetting. So anyway, I have 2 cameras, but that's not the reason I have 2. The reason I really have 2 is because one camera at night is probably doing a time lapse or a star trail or doing something that takes a long time, while my other camera is doing something else so I can keep shooting and I'm not just bored. Or they're both doing something very long. Maybe they're both open for an hour, or I don't know. Lenses. I have a few zoom lenses, 4 zoom lenses at the moment, and I have 3 prime lenses. The primes I found to be obviously much sharper than the zoom lenses. If I really love a scene, I'll switch to those always. And they're mainly for astrophotography. I got that 24 prime the 24mm 1.4 for astrophotography, and then they came out with the 20mm a little bit later, and I'm like, oh wow, those 4mm, I want them. They really did make a big difference. I know it sounds silly to have both of those lenses, but they're really amazing for astrophotography. And then that 14mm 1.8 just came out, and I pre-ordered it, so I'm just waiting on that. That's gonna be a game changer. 2 drones for the same reason as I said before. You might lose one, something might happen to one, you want to back up. I lost a drone pretty recently in Hanksville. I flew my other drone to scout it. I went back a week later to recover it. I had to rent a ATV to go into this really crazy terrain. It was an incredible adventure. I do not take back losing that drone at all, because I would not have had this amazing adventure if I didn't. I'll share that with you guys a little later. But yeah, so all the drones, the GoPro, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket, which I don't use, a couple of tripods. I also have another tripod for my phone, a few tripod heads, and a bunch of filters to get creative. So that's the gear. That's the Jeep. That's the gear. That's overlanding. So last year, 2020, I challenged myself to live outdoors and not allow myself to be inside at all. And that lasted for, I think, 140 days, 136 days to be exact, where I did not sleep indoors one time. I was offered by so many people, and I just kept saying no because I just wanted to torture myself. No, I don't mean I wasn't torturing myself, but I just wanted to really break down the barriers that were there. And I wanted to, as you can see, like this whole list of things, break down barriers is over there. I wanted to face the challenges. I wanted to face the unknown. I wanted to get uncomfortable. Yeah, so just facing those fears. I wanted to break through all those fears. Growing up in New York, I had a lot of stuff I need to break down. I was afraid of all this stuff. It's not who I am today. And I just didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm just gonna go live in the woods or sleep by myself on mountain peaks and be okay with it, or be shooting out in the wilderness in the middle of the night and hearing noises and not getting worried about it. So why'd I do this? To hone my skills, to really, really practice and practice in every different environment, every different scenario, different weather, different patterns, different elevations, different cameras, different gear, different everything. So like right now I'm in Oregon, for example, and this coastline is so different to me. This fog, this mist that comes in, this atmosphere, this drama, I love it, but it's new to me. So you can be a master photographer and consider yourself a professional and have all these amazing skills, but you go to a new area that you've never been in, and it's a new challenge for you. So it's amazing. I love facing new challenges, whatever they are. I love the growth that comes with it. So scouting for workshops. I teach workshops. This year, I'm only doing private workshops and semi-private workshops because I just want to really, really get to a next level. I want to learn, create, and just practice. Next year, I'm going to have a lot more group workshops, but this year, I'm going to just hone my skills as much as I possibly can. And every month, I create new skills that I want to focus on. So like this month is star tracking, as well as these new environments that I'm in. So anyway, inspiring people to get out there is what I love to do. I love to meet amazing people on the road, and I love these unforgettable memories that get created, whatever they are, good, bad, the misadventures, the adventures, and creating art. To me, this is art. You don't just take a photo, you make a photo. And I just love this. I love everything about it. So yeah, living, learning, and loving it. That's what I'm doing. I'm living every single day to the fullest from the moment I open my eyes till the moment I close them. And I'm learning every day. And I don't even know what I'm going to learn today or tomorrow, but it's just nonstop. And I love what I'm doing. I love the uncomfortableness. I love seeing every sunrise, every sunset. I love being scared even. And if you guys know, fear and excitement, you get the same sensations. So And that fear turns into excitement and balances itself. Anyway, live your dream and create the life of your dreams and just live it, you know, make it happen. So that was last year for me. What's it like living outdoors? Sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you see random animals just show up in the middle of the night. Like one night I was sleeping and these deer started fighting outside of my tent, and you know, I just went back to bed. That animal on the bottom right, I think it's a cow. But yeah, just you know, you see all types of stuff. Yesterday I there was a bunch of elk around, and you shouldn't go near them because they're a bit aggressive. They looked really muscular, like macho deer. This is my Jeep with the awning out. This is one of my favorite camping spots in Colorado. There's a big fireplace, which I couldn't use because of a fire ban. It's been pretty dry the last year, and this year again, it looks like it's gonna be pretty dry. That right there is one day I was cooking, editing out of the back of my Jeep, had the awning up for shade. I put a towel on the back step so I can sit on it comfortably. So I'm just hanging out, you know, cooking, editing, doing my thing over there. This is not how it usually looks, but this is how it looked one of the nights inside my tent. There's a sleeping bag there. I put some lights on. I go to sleep. I'm very comfortable in there. You know, being disconnected from electronics, not having cable, turning your phone off, it just makes you sleep like a baby, at least me. I sleep better out here outdoors than I probably ever did in any home, hotel, or anywhere I've ever been. As weird as that may sound, I sleep better outdoors every single night. There's a beautiful moonlit night, almost looks like daytime. The moon is very important to this lifestyle. It really affects every night, not just sleeping, but it really affects photography. It's like a nightlight. So when the moon's not out, it's almost like my nightlight's not there. And then you know every night's so different. Like even if the moon is out, but it's coming out at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it's almost like it's not really there. But the moon allows me to do a lot of different things. It allows me to get my my blending shots. So if I'm shooting stars, I can get the shot that lights up the foreground from the moon. But we'll get to that a little later. There's me by a lake, just sleeping there, shooting, setting up some star trails. I carry those blocks to level myself. There's another location. So that's actually again in Colorado. That's on a mountaintop where the largest mountain lion ever was captured. And there's bones everywhere. And I still sleep like a baby. I don't know what's wrong with me. I didn't like how close that tree was to the roof of my Jeep here, though, honestly. I try to distance myself from trees where animals can jump down. Okay, another beautiful, beautiful location. These amazing aspens. That's where I wake up. That's where I go to sleep. Here I am on top of a 14,000-foot mountain. Pretty cold that night. It's me climbing out, my friends shooting me. Sleeping in snow too. It gets cold. There's different ways to stay warm. I have inner lining for a sleeping bag, and I have a regular sleeping bag. I have a blanket, thermals. I used to have a heater inside. If you guys want to ask me about that, ask me offline. I'll tell you what I think about the heaters. So like me being up there in these conditions, I get to shoot in these conditions. This is a really cold day, snowstorm coming in, alpine loop, you know. Put my camera out. I have to go inside the Jeep to warm up because I couldn't feel my fingers at that time. I'm not even wearing gloves. My hands hurt so much. I was clapping to try to keep the blood circulating. I'll never forget that day. I was literally just going like this as fast as I could between shots just to like have the blood circulate. Oh, that it was right here. And look, I have a camera set up. I have my iPhone. There's a drone in the air that you can't see. I multitask a lot. It's probably why I lose drones. Two of my favorite things, pizza and photography. So, just go out to the water and sit down peacefully and relax sometimes. I don't relax too much. I'm usually go, go, go. But I try to relax, try to find that time. Um, Again, I'm just showing you all these locations so you can see what it's like to be outdoors. And east of Colorado, it's pretty difficult to do that. There's something called BLM land out west, which stands for the Bureau of Land Management, and they manage a lot of land, which is ours, that we pay taxes for, that gets maintained, that we can use as our backyard. And I'm telling you guys this, but I hope the secret doesn't get out to everybody, because then it's gonna be really packed. And so that's that. And I'm sure you're all wondering how I go to the bathroom, right? Um, so basically, when it comes to the bathroom, I basically have a shovel, and most of the time I just dig a hole, and that would be about 6 inches at minimum. And I pack it, I pack everything in, I cover it, and that's it. That's kind of what I do. A lot of my friends carry around a shelter tent that they set up to use the bathroom, and they put this tent up, and then there's a toilet inside of it that has a special bag that's kind of like cat litter inside that, and then they zip that up and they throw it out. But you gotta take care of everything, when you're in these locations. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because a lot of these new people that are doing this, that don't know what they're doing, are leaving a lot of messes everywhere. And I'm seeing toilet paper a lot this year because of the pandemic. People started to go out by themselves, and people are making messes, and it's really unfortunate. But I just wish that there's more education out there for how to take care of that. Um, on the top left, that's one of my favorite camping spots in Moab. And on the bottom left, you see like I'm waking up in the snow, and that's my view in the morning. And on the bottom right, that was my first lesson in why you shouldn't keep your shoes outside when it's like snowing and when you're in that kind of cold, because frost forms all over them. And I had no idea before that day. So I learned something new that day too. Just some more photos of where I was sleeping and waking up. And here on the left, on the top left, that's where I went to sleep, and that's the view from my tent on the right in the morning. And as you can see in the bottom left, same thing. That's where the tent is, and on the bottom right, that's where I wake up. This is Alstrom Point, and as you can see, I didn't mention that, but you can have an overlanding setup where you have something that's behind you, that's trailing you. That right there is called a turtleback. That turtleback has a built-in kitchen with a tent on top, and it has wheels on it and shocks that can go anywhere. So he's rolling with something that is helping him with his family. He has a dog, a son, and a wife with him. That's my friend Kane's forerunner, and all four of them are together, and they live like that, in that tent. So it doesn't have to be one person alone doing it like I do. There's room for two in my tent, and Kane fits three in his. That's my office. Sometimes I have different offices, and they're everywhere. They're called coffee shops. Sometimes I work out of my Jeep, but I kind of took over this table here. I have my camera, my drone, my GoPro, everything's out. I should probably donate a little bit to their electric fee. I'm charging my Goal Zero probably on the other side of that table. The Goal Zero is it's an external battery, a huge one. It stores like 500 watts, and you can charge a lot of stuff with. So this is last year. I ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. This year I'm not doing that. But basically my diet last year was peanut butter and jelly. So bad. It was just so easy. But I would mix it up. Sometimes I'd make peanut butter and jelly tacos, burritos, sometimes whole wheat. Sometimes I'd stick a banana in there. You never know. But this year I'm doing it a bit different. This year I'm doing a lot more greens, a lot more salads. I pre-cook my food a lot. So like I'll cook a lot of ground turkey, and I'll make a big salad, and it'll last me for a pretty long time. So here's some of my favorite camping spots and photos from last year's adventures. And last year's adventures took place in a lot of locations that are pretty popular. This first one being Lake Powell, and that's Alstrom Point. But this year in 2021, I'm a lot more off grid. I'm in a lot less locations where people know about, that are photographed a lot, and a lot less of the Instagram famous places. I'm trying to find a lot of new locations. But in this presentation, I'm going to be showing you a lot of the manicured, not manicured, but more of the locations that are tough to get to, but still a lot of people go to. Like this one right here. This was a good hour and a half, 2 hour off-road bumpy trail. You do not want to go here in a two-wheel drive small car. You're just not going to make it, or you're going to make it in pieces, and that won't be fun. So I just want to show you the transition of what it's like to be in a few different locations. So here's where I come to, and here's where I set up, and as you can see, the sun is setting, and this is what it looks like. And oh no, I'm sorry, this is sunrise. This is like the morning. This is my setup, and this is like where I woke up, and this is one of my favorite photos. And this is taken with a real camera, not my iPhone, and I had to bracket. So this is a 3-photo bracketed shot. So I was able to capture the dark inside details as well as the outside details. It's a handheld bracket. And then, you come out of your tent, you shoot this amazing, beautiful blue hour, which, then later turned into this crazy dramatic scene. But by being here, I get to watch all this happen. I get to see the blue hour. I get to see the storm roll in. I get to see this drama unfold, right? Another thing, by the way, last year I was chasing locations a lot. This year I'm chasing weather. So I'm chasing a lot more locations that are really off grid, and I'm trying to go into storms. This year I've been in really high winds a lot and really bad weather. But going back to this place, Alstrom Point by Lake Powell, now these are this is star trails. This is a night shot. These are actually star trails with the moon out, as you can see from the shadows. This is one photo, probably like a 15-20 minute photo, because I could from the way that the star trails look. Oh, this one we already saw. This is so this photo was taken from this location where I'm camping here. And, I set up this shot and went to sleep. And this actually is a blend of 2 photos because the moon didn't come out, right? I set up my camera and I took a photo during blue hour, and I left my camera in the same spot, and I waited for it to get totally dark. And then once it got totally dark, then I set up my star trail so that I would have the details in the foreground for later, so I can blend them. And it's pretty cool. You can see one shooting star in the top over there. Next location, Gooseneck State Park. This is sweet. By the way, I know I'm really close to the edge here, but that was just for the photo. I didn't actually set up camp here. I just did this to make my mom feel really uncomfortable. No, I'm just kidding. But my mom is really used to this now. She trusts me. I don't know how, but yeah, so this is the Gooseneck State Park, and this is a fireplace, and a fireplace. Yeah, and it's just a really, really sweet location. This is what it looks like when you wake up. I make sure to set up my Jeep every single night in a way that I wake up with a sweet composition to show you guys. But no, I really want to wake up and just open my eyes and see something like this. And you can't do that in a hotel, which I totally forgot to touch on. Okay, so you have a hotel room. You want to shoot the sunrise. You have to wake up. You have to get ready, get in your car, drive to the location, get to the location, figure out where you are, set up, take the shot. I do not have to do that. I wake up there. So let's say that it takes you an hour to get here. There's no hotels too close to here, right? So the nearest one, I don't know, maybe an hour, let's say, or maybe half an hour. So it would take you a half an hour to drive here. You have to wake up, get your stuff together, get in the car. It might take you an hour to get here, right? Whereas I just wake up and I'm here. It's awesome. So I wake up there, I shoot this shot. This is in the morning. I had my camera out all night shooting, and then I get this shot. This is the morning blue hour. The stars are still out there. You can see a couple of stars, and then it transitions. Like the sun comes up. This is me on a ledge again. I'm always on ledges, but yeah, that's me just shooting down that way. But this is a pano of goosenecks. Before we only saw one, but this is actually, they call it goosenecks and not gooseneck for a reason. These are the goosenecks. And I believe this is a night shot. No, this is in the morning. This is a morning photo. But check this out. The night before that, I did this. This is one of the most complex photos I've ever had to do for so many reasons. I'm going to go into this one. I'm going to explain it. So the foreground was shot around 7 o'clock p.m. during blue hour. And this is I think a 10 photo vertical bracketed panorama. So what that means is it took my camera 10 compositions to cross from the left side to the right side of this frame. What that means when I say bracketed is I have to take multiple photos in each one of those compositions to get all of the details in the different levels of light. And what happened was my photos when I first started on the left side reached 30 seconds per shot, but it kept getting darker and darker as I panned to the right. So by the time I got to the right side, I was shooting like 1 minute 30, and I didn't even know if I got this shot until I was home. But okay, so that's the bottom. And then the sky also. So I had to leave my camera there, come back 3 hours later, and do the same panorama for the sky. So this is actually like 40 photos blended. 10 for the sky, 30 for the foreground. Now, I'm going to tell you the part that's even more mind-blowing and like made this even more unforgettable. It was me and another photographer here. His name is Kane Shadiger. He has a gallery in Ridgeway, Colorado. He's awesome. He showed me this spot. But there's only one place you can stand and only one place you can put your tripod to do this. 1 foot to the left, you can't do this. 1 foot to the right, you can't do this. And you have two photographers that want to do the same thing. So how do you do that? And we're standing there trying to figure it out. And you have to make sure that your pan doesn't like get in the way of the other tripod. And anyway, I set up my tripod directly below his. I had to sit in Indian position, like with my legs crossed, while he stood up over me. And I had to make sure that I was able to get up without touching his tripod. I had to make sure that I was able to pan all the way from left to right without having his tripod legs get in my shot. So not only was the shot complex, but it was also very challenging setting this up so that me and Kane can both capture this. So anyway, this photo has a lot of meaning for me. Probably my favorite shot of all of last year because of that. Moving on to White Pocket. I got to take a sip of water from my giant water bottle.
No problem. So there are a couple of questions that I'm going to throw at you while we're just kind of so give you a little bit of a break. I think you answered Dave's question. He wanted to know what your go-to meal was to prepare, and I think you said peanut butter was your thing for your first year. And so now you're back to salads. Is that what I understand?
This year, I have not had any peanut butter yet.
Yay.
So I have 3 cooking devices with me.
Okay.
I have a scuttle, which is that thing you saw earlier. It's a big wok. And I love to use that when I have groups of people. Then I have a dual burner stove. And that dual burner stove is pretty easy to set up. And then I have a fire pit that you can, like, I guess, do shish kebabs or grill on, and you can actually use wood or coal, and it's pretty interesting. But I use the burner only because it's quick and easy, and I'm not really, like I said, I'm a photographer first. So for me to spend hours and set up these camping sites and do all this extravagant camping really isn't my thing. When I'm with people or when I do overlanding photography workshops, yes, we do this. But when I'm by myself, I don't do that. So to answer your question, I have a lot of fruits with me. In the morning, I might make eggs. I've actually made a couple of frittatas this year, but I might make some eggs. I might saute some vegetables and throw some eggs in there with that. I might have an oatmeal, but mainly fruits in the morning. I have, like I said, I pre-make the salad. I pre-make turkey. So, and I pre-make chicken. I pre-make all these things. I have avocado. I have everything I need to quickly make a wrap or a sandwich.
Okay.
Pretty much it.
That's great. Thank you.
What else, Linda?
I've got a few others, but I'm going to hold them because I can group those together a little bit, but I wanted to give you just a little bit of a break.
White Pocket. So that was another one of my favorite locations. I couldn't sleep right where my composition was. As you can see, my Jeep's kind of far in the back, but I was able to hike out a mile into White Pocket, leave my camera, go back to my Jeep, go to sleep, and still like feel comfortable about it being there because I was so remote. I was still a little nervous because it was pretty far away from where I was sleeping, but anyway, this is what I woke up and shot that morning. Such an interesting place, White Pocket. I got stuck multiple times getting here in deep sand. These are moonlit. That's a moonlit star trail. It looks like daytime, right? What happens when you shoot a moonlit star trail are you'll have much more faint star trails. You'll have a very blue sky, and you will not have the colorful trails you normally are used to. This photo right here actually shows you that difference. This is the same 4-hour photo. These are actually 4-hour photos in one shot. These are not stacked trails. There's reasons why you would want to do both, but you guys can ask me that offline about the 30-second star trails, 3-minute star trails versus like 3-4 hour single shot star trails. But yeah, on the left, you can see what it looks like with no moon out. You have a full silhouette of the foreground. So if you're shooting no moon and you don't have a blue hour shot to blend with it, and you're not going to stay there for it, you really want an interesting silhouette. So like something that doesn't move, right? So you don't want a tree in the wind, but you want something jagged or something really interesting if you're not going to actually expose that foreground and you're just going to do a trail. But here's the difference. So if for that left photo, there's 3 different ways that you can blend it. One is you get the blue hour shot from the night. 2, you get the blue hour shot in the morning. Or 3, you get a moon shot that illuminates the foreground. I can actually use that right-sided foreground and blend it into the left side, which will give me, I would adjust, obviously, the brightness and make it look like night. But so those are kind of your options when it comes to nighttime and blending. Oh, man, I just love this. That's the same photo in black. Oh, this is, okay. This is the left photo's sky blended with the right photo's foreground and then put in black and white. And what I love about this is all the lines, like the circular lines in the top. And if you notice in the foreground, there's a circular formation all the way in the bottom of the foreground. So it kind of mirrors the sky. And then you have those diagonals and the, oh man, just lines, 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 lines. I love this photo. So much fun. This is also white pocket, just a much more simple photo, but you see where the moon is? You see those contours, right? So it's really important to think about that. Think about your shadows, think about the texture, think about the contours. This would not look like that if the moon was not right overhead. If this moon was behind me, it would be very flat. You would not see those, all the darkness between the cracks. You wouldn't even see the cracks. Utah, Badlands. Oh, Badlands. I love Badlands. Just a quick little night shot by, I don't know the name of that structure, but this is in Hanksville. I love this place. It's like Mars. I've been there 3 times this year, or 4 times almost, actually. Again, some Star Trail shots. I just want to show you the difference between the one on the right and the left. One is a very long Star Trail, 4-hour one. And then on the left, you see a much shorter one. So I took that left shot just to make sure that I had everything perfect before I committed myself to a 7-hour photo. The one on the left is, I think, maybe 15 minutes. The one on the right is 7 hours. And if you're going to do a 7-hour photo, you better know when it's going to get bright in the morning, or 4-hour photo, 5-hour photo. If you're going to start a Star Trail at 10 p.m. and the moon comes out at 2, you better be done by 2, or it's going to ruin your shot. So it's very important to know all the details about when the sun's going to come up, when the moon's going to come up, where it's going to come up. All these details are extremely important to capture these kind of photos. Also over there, very dramatic. I slept right there, right behind this formation. Also in Hanksville, you know, I put my Jeep over there and I hike out. It's pretty cool. That's the Henrys in the distance, that mountain range with no snow on them. I got to capture that range with a lot of snow on it this year. Factory Butte, again, right from where the Jeep is. Very interesting landscape, indeed. Morning shots in the same place. I'm just showing you like the variety of different shots in the same location. Man, don't you love this place? I love how you can have all that cool blue like foreground while you have such a warm sky. I love the contrast, the color contrast here. So, oh my God. Okay, so I was here flying my drone, and if you notice that formation in the top left, this is where I lost my drone this year. It was downed behind those 2 buttes. And I had to rent an ATV to get into that landscape to recover it. And I did. And it was like the best day ever. The fall, San Juan Mountains, man, what a place. Just like camping here among these trees is just, you know, waking up to that scene is mind-blowing. It's incredible. And I make sure to go to places that have really bumpy trails that are hard to get to so other people don't come to my location. So because I'm here, I know that 99% of people cannot come here. So it just gives me much more privacy, knowing that no one else can make it. I try to go on extreme roads just because of that, honestly. Like, not only can I get to cool places to photograph, but other people can't go there. So it really limits the people around me. This is moonlit, looks like daytime, but this is my nightlight. So the moon's really powerful. This is a night shot. There's some star trails up in the sky if you look close. The moon was to the right, as you can see, the shadows from it. Again, same place, same area. This is pretty cool. So like, you know how you see like the star, like you see the stars up top, you see the star trails. What I love about this photo is that beam of light coming from the moon, highlighting those trees on the left like a spotlight. And you know, you see it a lot with the sun, but with the moon, it's so much more extravagant because it's so rare and just yeah, the moon is really interesting. So last year for me was a lot about the moon, a lot about learning how the moon works, a lot about shooting during the moon, and I became much more familiar with it. Oh man, enter the aspens. I just love this. Makes me like it feels like a scene from the game Zelda. I don't know if you guys know that reference, but there's a video game from like the 80s, 90s, and this is like reminds me of that game. This little dude carrying a sword, and anyway, this I just want to like swim across that water and climb those stairs and enter that forest. I just love how this makes me feel. I just really, really love going to locations during the right time of the year, right? So like I want to be here during the fall or like I just kind of like the same thing as I was talking about earlier with storm chasing. Like when I do my workshops, I make sure that the timing of where we are is perfect. Like if it's the wildflowers that I want to shoot, I make sure that it's wildflower season. If I want to, and if there's wildflowers in that area, or if I want to shoot fall, I make sure that I'm in the area where fall really pops. But this photo is another one of my favorites from last year. I really love the haze in the top right corner. And I really love how the focus is on the road ahead because it's like such a great metaphor, you know? Um, it's like focus on the road ahead, but also enjoy the present. So the present here is a little bit out of focus, but enjoy it all. So yeah, just being here and this is you have to go a little off road here, but most cars can handle it. I love the framing here. I see a lot of photos of these aspens and I wanted to do something different. So I challenged myself. I challenged myself a lot to shoot things differently to get shot a lot. Every time I'm in a location that gets overshot, I just really like think like, what can I do? How can I make this unique? So this to me is a unique take on this scene. I have not seen it like this. Camping by a lake, just it just makes it so nice. You know, waking up right here, shooting over the lake. To get here would take you an hour and a half from the nearest hotel. So like, what are you gonna do? Wake up at 3, 2:30? Well, no, sunrise is not gonna be at 5. It's gonna be like 5:30. But this is from another angle of that same lake. You know, I get to do star trails all night there. So this is like a star trail reflection. Uh, Another great place for overlanding is in Colorado is called the Alpine Loop. Um, so this is a star trail where I was sleeping and okay. So check this out. This is my test shot. I took a test shot from outside of my Jeep. This is also my blue hour photo so that I can blend it later. This is what I was talking about earlier. Now, this is what I did here. It's pretty interesting. First, I created this composition where my Jeep was facing that mountain. That mountain is called Engineer Mountain, and that's Engineer Pass. And I'm at Odom Point. So I got here early enough to figure out where the North Star is by using photo pills. I figured out how I can put my Jeep in a location that would be sort of leading you into the North Star, leading you into that mountain trail and kind of taking your eye through the frame. So this was not only my test shot, but it was also my blue hour shot. I do that at a very low ISO. So as you can notice, I have all the details of the Jeep. I have all the details of the mountain, and I know that my North Star is in the right place. Next thing I do is I crawl up into my tent after I set up my exposure, my focus, my everything. I take my remote trigger with me into my tent. And by this time, I'm ready for bed, okay? Because I'm about to take a 4-hour photo. So I make sure that like I do not need to come out. I make sure everything's right with the lights, everything's off, my bedding's good, everything is the camera's set up so that I can just go into my tent, press the button, go to sleep, and that's it. So that's what I did. I set up my camera, I did all that. I crawled up into my tent. I looked out of the window, pressed the button, and this is the result. So that's a 4-hour star trail blended with that blue hour foreground. And while this is shooting, I'm sleeping in that Jeep, in the photo, in that tent. Another great, awesome shot from the Alpine Loop. Reflection of star trails in an old mine. As I was shooting this, there was this weird noise, like huge, like cacophony of sound behind me. Had no idea what it was. It was freaking me out, only to find out later that there was a herd of thousands and thousands of sheep behind me. But yeah, I love this because you know, that water trail leading from the mine is pretty sweet, and the reflection almost leads you into the mine. Leading lines, star trails, reflections. This one has a lot of the elements that I really enjoy. I love complex photos. If you can tell, simplicity isn't my thing. You know, snow, rain, whatever. If there's going to be amazing photos to take, I'll do it. I'll go there. I don't care. So that's the other bathroom I was talking about. So my friend, he travels with his girlfriend, and he has this little tent inside as a bathroom, and he put it right in front of my tent. Thank you, Justin, for putting that right there so I can get this beautiful morning photo. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, look at this. I mean, we are driving in the snow at night at 12,800 feet. Sleeping up there. I love this photo too. This is me, my friend Justin, and my friend Alex last year, before I really modified my car and lifted it. There's no winch or anything. Oh, this is also on that mountain. I just really love the light here, the way it's like so dramatic. That's in the Alpine Loop. Beautiful mountain. So this is shot during that snowstorm. I had 1 minute. No, yeah, there was like 1 minute where that sun came through that opening between the clouds and lit up all the snow and gave me this ethereal, beautiful scene. And then about 1 minute later, I thought I had the photo here, but in less than 30 seconds, it was total whiteout. Complete whiteout. Came in from the right side, and that was it. Anytime I hear the word Badlands, I get excited because they're always interesting, and it always feels to me like a fish world. Like almost all the Badlands have been like, it almost makes me imagine that I'm in the bottom of the ocean. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a moment, but this is where I camped, and it's not always extravagant, and I can't get into the Badlands, but I just camped in some parking lot right outside of it. It's a 1.5 mile hike to get to where I want to shoot. So waking up right there is pretty convenient. Nearest hotel is an hour away, right? So hotel, drive, hike, sunrise, you need a good 2.5 hours. That's the same location with the moon at night, a little bit of mud cracks leading into the Jeep. But this is the Badlands, right? Now, can you see what I mean? Like under the ocean, like fish swimming around, like I feel like a fish down there. This is the Badlands. Pretty sweet, pretty interesting location. That is same place. And by camping there, I don't care what time I come out or sleeping there, but as you can see, blue hour, and then same thing here, the sunburst through it. And then I stayed there for the star trails. That's a 10-minute photo on the right side. On the left side, that's a handheld bracketed shot. Stayed there even longer. Did some really cool photos of black and white, like cloud. By the way, clouds are pretty cool too, you know? Moonlit clouds are so awesome. So interesting. Long exposures of them. Like these streaks, they're so fun. And then here's another one of like a 10-minute star trail. But as you can see, the same location. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, you get to see it in so many different light scenarios: sunset, blue hour, star trails, Milky Way, whatever. So that's one of the hugest benefits of what I do. Now I'm here in the morning. This is like a morning blue hour or something. This is a cool silhouette. This is what I was talking about earlier. You don't really need the details of the foreground if you have such an interesting silhouette. I didn't even, this is actually, I could put the details in. I bracketed this photo. I have them all, but I found this really interesting because now your focus is on the sky. You know, I'm making your eyes go where I want. And I just love the sky here so much. I didn't want you to be distracted by the details of the adobe in the foreground. Canyonlands in Moab. Moab is amazing. I bet a lot of you have been there, but Canyonlands is a really interesting place because most of you guys know Canyonlands from the Island in the Sky location where you climb up from Moab, but Canyonlands is so big. You can enter it from places that are 3 hours away. There's the Island in the Sky, and this is Schaefer Trail leading up into Canyonlands. This is the lower area of Canyonlands called the Needles District. That's my friend Alex holding a flashlight in this crazy rock formation. This is also right there. And you have those that beautiful ghostly like cloud in the background and those cottonwoods in the back. And I didn't even know what those trees were a year ago. Now I know they're called cottonwoods. So I learned a lot about the things I talk about by being out here and talking to people and reading about what I'm shooting. It makes me a little bit more intelligent. It makes me sound smarter when I talk about these things. Look at this, right? So I drove up in complete fog, and you guys probably, a lot of you have been here too. This is Dead Horse State Park, Dead Horse Point. I had 3 seconds where the sky opened up for me to capture this. And, you know, it was just epic. I got it in that brief moment. Same place in the morning, Dead Horse State Point. And then, you know, just driving around, shooting all night. There was a little bit of snow, a little bit of star trail, that lenticular cloud in the distance. I just love these complex compositions with a lot going on. This is cool. This is in Canyonlands, and this is obvious when you point your camera in at the sky, depending on where you point it, you're gonna have a different star trail. When you point it at the North Star, you're gonna have circular trails around it. As you can see here, they're kind of bending to the left on the left side, and they're kind of bending right on the right side. So in both hemispheres, it looks different and depends on where you point your camera. Photo pills can show you all of those different things in their app. See, now you can see a totally different variation of how the star trails are moving. In this particular one, the North Star is in the bottom left corner, possibly. Or actually, it might be out of frame in the top right. Moab, where I camp, behind that tree. Just more of the same. I'm just trying to show you guys what it's like. Kind of just like what it is to overland and be shooting where you're sleeping. You know, you get tired, you go to sleep, you're excited, you jump out, you shoot. Like this is me sleeping and shooting at the same time. I mean, I'm almost shooting 24 hours a day. Not even kidding. Again, I'm probably sleeping and shooting right here. And this is 2 cameras set up. So one camera is shooting this, another camera is shooting this. And okay, that's my contact information. And I see on the bottom right, it says the first 5 people that email me get a free 45-minute editing session. So this is a slide from a previous presentation, but I will honor that. I am honoring that right there in the bottom right corner.
All right.
So the first 5 people that email me will get a 45-minute editing session where we do this on Zoom together. So get a few of your favorite photos together and we will edit them together. I don't know when that'll be because this is extremely unplanned, but we'll figure something out. I'm going to be taking a few weeks off to do work and work on my new website I'm about to launch. So during those few weeks, I'll schedule those. So shoot me an email, guys. Say what's up. First 5 people to do that, we will connect one-on-one and do some editing together. So that brings me to the end. And again, thank you guys all for being here. And thank you, Linda. And I'd love to answer any questions if there are any.
I have a few for you. So let me get you to take down your screen. And I'll link all your
Oh,
information.
my phone's vibrating. I'm getting emails.
I know. I already saw somebody in the chat line said it's already done. So I think Mata is going to be the first one to contact you. First of all, let's talk about gear for a second. Gil was wondering if you could suggest where he could purchase a rooftop tent. Do you have any?
Yeah, of course. Rooftop tents they range in price from maybe 1,500 all the way up to $4,000. My friend who I was just traveling with got something called an Ursa Minor, which is a replacement of this entire roof. So his rooftop tent, actually, the roof pops up. That thing is $10,000. It's called an Ursa Minor. Anyway, I recommend buying it from any distributor that has hopefully you can find a discount. I bought mine from Mainline Overland. At the time, I think they had 20% off. So my tent, I think, is $3,800. But they had free shipping, they had 20% off, and no tax. So I got it for like a little under 3,000 delivered, whereas it may have cost me over 4,000 if I didn't buy it from them. So just do a little bit of research. A lot of these things are back ordered right now because of because a lot of people got into this lifestyle recently because of the pandemic. They're tired of being cooped up. But I have an iCamper. That's the company I use. It's incredible. Email me. I will also connect you to a friend of mine who is a manufacturer of a company called Go Mammoth. And I'll connect you to him, and you can actually buy it from like the owner of this company directly, or he'll suggest a distributor of his. But just send me an email and I'll forward it and I'll connect you guys.
Okay. So the next question is from Gary. He's curious, what's the estimated cost for the Jeep and its outfitting?
Yeah. So let me start with the Jeep. The Jeep, the way it is, I got it with everything. I got like every option. I got things that I shouldn't have gotten that make no sense too. But the sticker price was like 55,000. And I leased it for 4 years to keep my payments as low as possible, knowing that I'm gonna buy it at the end. So what I did was I got the minimum amount of miles possible for the payments, knowing I'm gonna go way over. So I got it with, I think, 10,000 miles a year. I'm already over 50,000, right? And I'm on my third year, or less than 3 years. I'm already over 50,000. So so my payments would be really low. I try to make my payments as low as possible, and then once these 4 years are over, I'm gonna refinance. I'm gonna have the bank buy it, and I'm gonna pay the bank payment. So that was my method of doing this for the Jeep, to keep my cost as low as possible. So leasing it with the longest amount of time, with the lowest amount of miles, knowing my plan for later. Plus, Jeeps hold the best value. And the gear I put into it, like $30,000. Everything at this point, I'm at 30. I built everything inside. I built the platforms. I built the drawers. I spent 2 months doing that. If I would have bought those made, it would have been like $8,000. But this wasn't done overnight. This is 3 years of stuff being done. So installation is very expensive too. Like some of my lighting, for example, may have cost $3,000, but installing it and the wiring may have cost $2,000. But again, you do not need to do all these things to do this. I just tried to make it extra comfortable and tried to use all the money I have and be broke to do this.
Okay, Marielle is wanting to know, do you use solar panels to charge your devices?
Nope. And the reason being is that I don't need to. I never stay put for more than like 2 days really without moving. I have 2 batteries in my engine. One battery charges the second battery when this one's on. So like right now my Jeep is off, and that second battery can go for like a week at least. I don't have to move. That refrigerator will be on for a week. As soon as I turn my car on, that battery's going to charge the other one. If I was camping for long periods of time, solar would be important. If I didn't have that second battery, solar would be important. But I do not have solar.
Okay. Jamie's wondering, do you use a satellite phone in case you get in trouble? Do you have a backup plan?
Yes, always. I have a Garmin InReach. That's the name of it. Garmin InReach. I have that Garmin InReach all the time.
Okay.
So when I'm going on a hike, it's with me. It's always next to me that I can get when I'm driving. So in case I fall off whatever, God forbid, but if I get into a situation where I can't get out of the car, I'm able to reach somebody. If I go hiking, I'm able to reach somebody. So the device costs around, I think, $300, and it's $15 a month, but I always do have that with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carrie's wondering, what apps do you like for monitoring sunrise, moonrise, star formations, etc.? You mentioned photo pills. Are there any others?
For what you just asked, it's basically all photo pills. Gaia, photo pills I use for my exposure calculator. There's a ton of different exposure calculators, but photo pills has everything built in. The exposure calculator helps me figure out how to get my settings for longer exposures. If I'm putting a 10-stop filter on, if I'm putting a 15-stop filter on, if doing star trails, I use photo pills. If I want to know where the moon is going to rise, if I want to know where the sun's going to rise or set, if I want to know where the trail is going to look, how they're going to look, it's going to be photo pills. If I want to see a month from today what it's going to look like in, I don't know, Alaska, I'll use photo pills. If I want to figure out when the moon will be perfectly aligned with the Empire State Building and where do I have to be to shoot it, how far do I have to be, how big the moon's going to be in relation to the Empire State Building, that's all photo pills.
Okay.
Photo pills is just huge. It's so extraordinary. $10 for a lifetime. It's crazy how cheap it is. Gaia is what I use for offline, off-road trails, tracking, saving my locations. It's always tracking me. It's a safety measure. So I lost my wallet a couple of weeks ago, and it was able to tell me exactly which gas station I filled up at, like where I pulled off, because I'm tracking myself.
Right. So why don't you tell us where you found that wallet? Because I know the answer. You guys have to watch My Story. They're hilarious.
It was sandwiched between the tire in the back of my Jeep outside and my back door. It's somehow, I was driving for like 100 miles with it outside of my Jeep.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Sorry, I didn't need
I
to
found it.
embarrass you, but it's funny now. It wasn't funny at the
Yeah.
time. Okay.
But
So
I just want to mention the 3 go-to apps.
yeah.
So the photo pills, the go-to for all the sun, moon stuff. Gaia for trails, roads, knowing what land is public, what's not public. And then Windy. The Windy app really helps me with weather. It helps me know the different levels of clouds, low clouds, high clouds. It helps me with atmosphere. Like I don't want to go into an environment when there's a lot of fires. It tells me how the air quality is. So Windy's a really great app. It's $25 though, but again, also worth it. When you have a rooftop tent, you really want to know how bad the wind's going to be.
Right. Can you spell Gaia? I've not heard of that one.
Gaia.
Thank you. So Dave Makeda is asking, do you stay in the West or do you travel to East Coast as well?
I mean, I grew up in the East. I live in the East. This lifestyle isn't possible out there. I'm just going to state it like that. It's just not. Unless you want to reserve campgrounds and pay for campgrounds and stay among a lot of other people, this land doesn't exist out there, unfortunately. I mean, there's probably a lot of national forests out there. And it is, I don't want to say impossible. It's possible. It's more challenging. There's not much of it. I like to go to places where I feel safe. And that's another concern for me. So I feel very safe out here. I'm not saying the West is safer than the East or vice versa, but the lifestyle is easy here. The landscapes are so wild, not to mention just all the variables just work to be here
Okay.
for this.
So there was one, let's see, I'm looking at a question from Doyle. Any plans to go to Mexico or Central or South America? I think that's what it said.
I don't like to go to places where I don't feel safe,
Okay.
period. My friends just did the Baja Peninsula. 2 different sets of friends just did it, where they went all the way to the tip and back, and they said they were fine, and I'm just not with it. One of my friends said he was pulled over for no reason, and he had to stand his ground to not get arrested.
So probably not.
And I just don't want to do that.
Okay. One last question. Susan is asking, where is White Pocket? My recollection, it's in Arizona, but can you just help her out?
It's in the Pariah Plateau. The Pariah Plateau. By the way, you really have to be ready to get to that location. Like I mentioned earlier, you are driving through a lot of deep sand. I've never been stuck more than on the way there. Pariah Plateau, Arizona, close to the Utah border.
Yeah, it's part of the, I want to say it's part of the, like the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument or something like that, but I'm not sure. I've not been there.
Yeah.
It looks a little out of my range. Okay, with that, Lawrence, we're going to
same region.
Which one?
No, it is the same region. Yep.
Okay. Okay. With that, I think that will cover all my questions. I wanted to thank you for doing this. I know that this took time out of your day, and even though you're out playing and having a great time, but it takes time to put a presentation together. And you and I spoke, I don't even know, yesterday, day before, something like that, and you said, hey, I have a lot more stuff that I cannot cover in this presentation. So you and I already agreed that you will come back for Overlanding Part 2, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that one, I believe, in January. And just watch the calendar, the schedule, guys. I'll put that out a couple of months before he gets back here. But I really appreciate you coming and doing this. You don't know me from anyone, and it's just fun to hear what other people are doing and how they're using their cameras, and it's fascinating. And I'm going to share the chat with you, because there are a lot of nice comments in it for you.
Oh, thank you guys.
Your work is beautiful, and I think everybody's going to agree. You're getting shots that I'm never going to get, because I don't have a vehicle, and I'm not crazy enough. But someone did kind of make a joke in the chat that you do have a shower, because that was something I said that I'm totally out. There's no shower in this overlanding thing, but apparently you have one. So that's still not going to persuade me to do this, but it is fun to live vicariously through you and through your stories, and hopefully your friendship. I will just truly enjoy. Keep those stories coming, and those beautiful pictures.
My pleasure. Yeah, and just I would also like to end by saying thanks to you and for bringing me on here. And I love what you're doing for the community and for the people. And it's just beautiful how this has blossomed. I'm their 64th person. I mean, that's incredible. And you're just doing this for everybody's enjoyment and for them to learn and to connect people, and it's a beautiful thing. And it inspires me to inspire others. And thank you all for being here. I'm just grateful for all of you.
Yeah, it's fun to do this, and between you and me, if we can get somebody off the couch and pulling their camera off the shelf and getting outside, whether it's in your backyard or buying a roof tent, You know, that's a win for us. So you guys can connect with Lawrence through his website, overlandingphotography.com. And if you're on Instagram, look for him at Overlanding Photography. And I'm going to link all of his social platforms into the show notes. So next week, I have a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winning photographer, Estras Suarez, will be here to talk about street photography, finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. And as a reminder, that session will not be recorded. So if you want to hear what Estras has to say, you'll have to join us live. Until next time, go out and create something beautiful. And I hope that we see you again soon.